And if you give people two things, if you give them opportunities and resources, they'll thrive, they'll excel, and they'll make the contributions that have been denied them. So much is happening in Madison, in the black community, that people are calling this a renaissance. And the reason they're doing that is because blacks only make up about 7% of Madison's population. But if you look at the multi-million-dollar projects they're engaged in, you look at all the work, whether it's in education, whether it's healthcare, or whatever, blacks are making a difference in those different genres. Well, the film sort of showcases 40 of Madison's black trailblazers. It's called Leaders of Madison's Black Renaissance. And it talks about their contributions that they're making to the city. For example, Madison elected more blacks to its city council than ever in its history. They had 6 or 7 black alders. They had blacks on county government. The police chief is black. The school superintendent before he left was black. The DA is black. And so you have blacks in visible leadership roles. And I think many people didn't know the number of blacks and the number of positions that they were in the city. And so I wanted to make sure that we captured that, because this has never happened in the history of this city. And I wanted to make sure that people were not only aware of it, but they were aware of the implications of it. And hopefully this film would be a turning point to say that blacks and other people of color will finally be integrated into the economic, social, and political fabric of the city. That's my hope. If you're talking about national and international impact, that's the impact that I want. I want other cities to replicate what we're doing here in Madison. The film has been shown in film festivals around the country and actually overseas as well. And it's got a lot of positive feedback. And I've had not only blacks, but whites, Latinos, Asians say that they wanted to move to Madison because of what was happening. And they want to not only have a community that they belong to, they want to be recognized for the contributions they're making to that community, so that their history is taught in schools, and so that they have the same opportunities and rights as everybody else. And if we can ever reach that as a society, then we can begin to make some progress. I'm from Missouri originally, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It's a little south of St. Louis. The celebrity that is probably best known from my hometown, which I disagree 100% with his policies, was Rush Limbaugh. So he's the sort of the celebrity. But I came up here for a job way back in 1973 to 75. I worked at the UW-Madison in the financial aid office. So that's what brought me to Madison originally. And then I left and I got my master's at the University of Oregon. I went back home to Missouri, came back, worked at Oshkosh for a while, and then I've been back in Madison since 1980. So it's been a minute, for about 40-some years. It's a great city, and that's another reason I wanted to do the film, to showcase the city. And if you look at the film, you'll see some beautiful images of Madison throughout, and you'll see sort of what's iconic Madison. I like this community, and I wanted to make a film to express that. I've been making films for 40 years. My big film is called Decade of Discontent, and it's about the Milwaukee civil rights struggle. Father Grappy, Bobby Kennedy was in it. I'll be 74 next Sunday, so I've been around for some time. I wanted to do a documentary about the Milwaukee civil rights struggle, and to really find out what was the reasons behind it. And so that took me about almost a year, 9 months to a year, but I interviewed all of the key players down in Milwaukee, from Father Grappy to the police chief to Vale Phillips, you name it, I interviewed. Anybody that was active in that movement, I interviewed. I remember when it was getting ready to air, I called the station in Green Bay that was an ABC affiliate. I asked NBC affiliate in Madison and PBS to air it all at the same time. And they did, and I couldn't believe it. It was 3 different channels. This is back in the day where you could pick up a call and call the station manager. And so I did that, and they aired it, and so it aired all over the state. But that film highlighted the Milwaukee civil rights struggle and talked about the problems, the disparities that blacks were facing in Milwaukee and what can be done about it. Someday I may revisit that, but I'd love to see a younger person pick up that mantle and finish that story. My career has been about 3 things. I do films, I do books, and I do presentations. And so those are 3 excellent ways to learn. We have so much information that's available to us, through the internet. And so that's a good place to start. But in terms of black history, we have states, as you well know, that don't even want to teach that anymore. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that that doesn't happen. And films like what I'm producing, they keep the message out there. They provide an alternative narrative so that people can make their own decision. I would encourage people to watch this film, Leaders of Madison's Black Renaissance, because sometimes we think that history takes place elsewhere, and we have it right here in our own backyard. So I would definitely encourage people to watch the film if they can.